Hey everyone, it's Kimmy. I am Mama on a Mission. I am a 15-year online reseller on eBay, Poshmark, Depop, and on Whatnot. And today's video is my Monday Ship With Me What Sold video. And I have some really good items to share with you. And in fact, one of the items is over $100. And it's a brand I am thinking that 95% of you or more have never even heard of. So you might want to stick around for that. Now, this video I'm going to do a little bit different than my traditional Monday videos, only in the sense that at the end I am going to end it with a screen share shot exactly of my computer, what it looks like, the items, the titles, everything. So although I always go through all of the items and share with you what the item is, what it's sold for, keywords, all of those things, I'm going to add a little snippet at the end that will have a computer screen share so you guys again can see all of those things, and hopefully that will be helpful. And if it is, I would love that you would comment and let me know, because I normally don't do that and it took just a little extra time. It's no biggie, anything for you guys, my friends. But so this is my 2-day what sold video. I launch them pretty much every Monday. So any sales from over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, February 21st and 22nd. So first I'll go over the numbers and then I'll show you what I sold. On eBay, luckily I had some higher priced sales because I didn't sell a whole lot, but in quantity, my total for the weekend, 2 days, was $412.75. My Poshmark, I did $166 in sales. That was 6 items. So if you do the math there, I'm hitting my goal of $20 sales or more. Depop, I didn't have anything, although I will say last week I did have a couple good sales on Depop, like a 40 and a 70. So Depop still is fine, just because it wasn't this weekend doesn't mean I'm not getting things there. It still comes in clutch a lot of times with some solid sales. But so for a total for the weekend of $578.75 between basically 2 platforms. Depop this weekend did nothing. So $578 in sales from the weekend. Now, that is still a little bit lower than where I'd like to be, but it's still a very solid weekend. Obviously, I had over $100 sale that I'm excited to share with you. It's different, and I think I have a couple things I want to point out about this item, for something for you to keep in mind while you're out there in the live, like what my thought process was when I was looking at this item at the bins. I got this item at the bins and I paid $1 and I sold it for over $100. So that'll be a good one. Now, some of you know my Whatnot was a disaster this weekend. And I know I'm like a broken record lady. This is like my life. I just keep rolling with the punches. My internet here, I'm in semi-rural Wisconsin. Like, I'm not in the middle of nowhere. There's people around me. My internet for the last week or so has been very intermittent. I did all the things. I sat on the phone. I contacted customer support. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and waited for the lights to go on. Long story short, I tried to do a Saturday Whatnot show, which I do a Saturday show pretty much every weekend. So if you want to catch me, look for my Saturday shows. But the internet didn't work right. You want to know what? If you're just listening to me, this is how my face froze. My husband actually was watching part of it because he could hear me saying like, oh no, something's wrong, something's glitching, I'm freezing. He's like, yeah, I was watching and then it froze on you and your face looked like this. I was like, is that really what I looked like? He's like, well, I'm sorry. He's like, you were freezing and glitching a lot. And because our internet has not been working properly, I decided I was going to still try it. It sometimes was working. And he was like, I heard you not doing so well. Like, oh gosh, this is freezing. So I looked, and then within seconds on his phone, watching in another room, watching my Whatnot show on his phone, he's like, yeah, you kept freezing. You had like the weirdest looking faces. Can you imagine the people who are watching me? I'm like, what? My chubby little face like glitching. And eventually I had to stop the show. And I will tell you that did give me some anxiety because I genuinely felt bad. People had already started purchasing. I sold things in the 22 minutes I was on there. But people already had bought things, so they had discounted shipping. And people were like, oh no, I was so excited for your show. And I felt like I was letting them down. And if you've been following my channel now for over a year that I've been doing these videos, the biggest thing, personally, professionally, I do not like letting people down. And I felt like I let people down, which I know it's not my fault. I can't control the internet. But, you know, people were like, oh no, I was so looking forward to your show. A couple of them, I am going to request a Whatnot refund on their shipping, because I just felt bad. They got, you know, they were looking to buy items. They were going to stick with me for an hour or so, buy a couple items, and then you get combined bundle shipping, and then they weren't able to do that. So there's that ramble that I can't help but do sometimes to tell you that Whatnot was a disaster. I ran for 22 minutes before I glitched enough that I had to get out of it. And I sold $51 worth of inventory. Not bad for 22 minutes. So my total for the weekend, including a Whatnot small glitch, ugly face disaster, was $629.75. If I had my Whatnot show, which could have or should have been a couple more $100, easily that number would have been bumped up. As of this video, the internet is fixed. The guy was here a couple hours this morning. I'm running all behind because he was here. He replaced everything. He's like, I replaced this line, this adapter, this modem, this tower, everything. He was great. He was a really nice guy. And so far, everyone knock on wood, fingers crossed again, that that it's going to stay that way, because running an internet business without the internet, the math isn't math in there, my friends. It has been a difficult couple days, but I'm hoping if this goes well, then I'm adding additional shows. I moved all my shows back to this week, so hopefully that will be the case. Let's get to some sales. Let's do it. And remember now, I'm going to share with you and ship these items right here, but I'm doing it different this time. At the end of the video, I'm going to screen share with you the items sold. So like I said, stick around for that if you want to see like true close-ups of logos and titles and all of those things. Now this sold in 2 days. And I got right around where I wanted. Someone sent me an offer. It's UFC. It's a Y2K UFC wrestling button-up shirt. I got this in my bundle, my bale bundle, 100-pound clothing bale. UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship button-up shirt in a men's size large. Look at this graphic. If you can find, you know, there's like Affliction, WWE, UFC, all these different boxing. Affliction is more of a brand, but like related type of things with a cool graphic on the back, maybe something to take a look at. This sold for $22 plus shipping. Someone sent me an offer and I accepted it. Just because sales have been a little bit slower and I'm looking to keep moving things, help that algorithm out. Could I have held out for more? Yeah, it sold in 2 days for $22. I could have probably gotten 25, 27, but a quick sale is a great sale. Turn and burn, baby. Make that money. That's about a $15 profit. You know, my cost of goods was a little high on that bale. I ended up doing per pound of the items. I am not joking with you. My internet just went down for a second. I'm back. Okay, this was 10 ounces. So my cost of goods is about $5, which is a little bit high for me, but that's okay. Sold for 22 plus ship. We are going to get this shipped out. UFC, you know, especially like vintage wrestling stuff is like crazy popular. Any of the old, you know, wrestling dudes, my husband would know more about them. Or any 90s, 2000s memorabilia, even like some of the characters and stuff are all worth a good amount of money. $5.64. It's with packaging, it's 11 ounces. And we are going to get the first one on the road. I have, a lot of very solid sales here. And I am thankful for that. I'm going to get this printed. Keep an eye on that internet thing in the corner. He did say that it had to do some software updates. All the new things he just put in, and I did wait the amount of time he told me to, but time is money. I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do here. He was really nice. I have to say, the communication was great. He was very polite. No complaints, as long as this is like a permanent fix. Fingers crossed. All right, here's another fantastic sale. I found these at the bins. Rag and Bone. This is a great jean brand. This was a wide leg Logan style jean in a size 28. Rag and Bone. And the wide leg is in, right? We want the wide legs. We want the flares, the barrels. You know, it kind of depends. Everyone has their style. But look how nice of a condition these were in at the bins. These took less than a week to sell. I mean, I have several items here that sold within 30 days. This was in a week. Rag and Bone jeans, 28. The Logan Logan wide leg jean, $40 plus shipping on these jeans. If you can find any of those like brand name jeans, like Free People, and that are in wide leg. Last year I sold a Free People wide leg for about $70. You know, this is a more expensive brand. Rag and Bone. I still like wearing skinnies from time to time. I wore a skinny a couple weeks ago. Maybe I'm just not that cool. I'm not in style, but I still like my skinnies with the boots with the fur. Boots with the fur. And then, you know, like a cute top or some kind of cardigan. I don't know. To each their own. $40 plus shipping. Let's get this weighed here. And really with that brand is, if you can put in all the key things, the brand, the style, it's a wide leg, it was a Logan. You can find the comps pretty easy, and you can see what they're going to sell for. 1 pound, 3 ounces. It is a pair of jeans, a little bit heavier. Luckily, it's only going to Illinois. $6.26 here. A $40 sale. That's great for me. Very, very happy with that. Guys, wait till you hear about this $100 sale. It's the craziest thing. I remember looking at the bins and I'm like, what is this? And now, you know, I've learned something, and that's everything. You know, the more we know, the more we can be prepared to hopefully make good choices out there. And I'm telling you. There is another item here that was from that bale. One of the better, you know, items. It's not shocking that some of them are already selling. Some of them have already also sold on Whatnot. I had a couple Carhartt women's things in there. So they're already selling on both Whatnot and on my platforms. This was one of the best things in that bale. You know, but that UFC was good. That was very solid. $22. Very, very, very quickly. This is Peter Millar. Yep, I got a Peter Millar in that bale. I got a couple of good Carhartt things, Rock Revival jeans. You know, I got a lot of nice things, a lot of new tags, things that have sold for me. In fact, another dress in here is from the bale. So there's a lot of items from the bale. Now that I'm putting the pieces together. Peter Millar, most of you know this brand. He has that crown logo. He does a lot of preppy, golfing type of items. This is a pair of, look how nice, woo! 34 by 30 blue performance slim fit golf pants, chino pants. Love this navy. The brand is fantastic. And the men's sizing, you know, that is a very good size, like a very common size. The 34, 30, if you're in the anywhere between like 32, 34, 36, those are good sizes, in my opinion. I also do well with big sizes, obviously, but the 34s, 36s, 33s, those are very common sizes. And these sold for $40 again. So that's two $40 sales from this weekend. Peter Millar performance pants. Now, you may hear mixed things out there about Peter Millar. Some people are passing on it. You do you, my friend. You do you, boo. Obviously I got this in the bail, so it really wasn't up to me, but I still do really well with men's pants. Peter Millar is one of them. Taylor Stitch, Todd Snyder. Those are the first ones that come to mind. Oh, Ralph Lauren, especially if it's like a wool or something. What do I got going on here? So I would have still picked this up if I found it at the bins. That's the truth. $40 plus shipping on these Peter Millar Chino Performance Pants. Okay, internet's still going good here. 14 ounces. The material feels really nice. $6.87 going to Arkansas. To Bob. All right, Bob, I hope you love these down in Arkansas. Another $40 sale. I just listed another Peter Millar that I found at the bins for $50 over the weekend. It was a performance pullover. All right, you tell me, you guys, how do you feel about Peter Millar? You know, I always love to hear your feedback. Are you picking some of these things up, or are you leaving them behind? So this is a brand. I've recently picked it up a couple times. This also came in the bail. Sold very quickly. I listed it for $39. Here's the brand, Aventura. I remember, I think Miss Lisa commented and was like, oh yeah, you've taught me about that brand. It's a new one to me too. It's organic. I think it's more of like a Pact or Prana type of brand, but this was new with tags, which is super nice. Had all the information on here. The Parsian blue emaille dress. Organic cotton, very pretty. Look at that. Look at that print. Ooh, she pretty. Isn't she? New Aventura organic summer dress, women's medium, boho, coastal, nautical. I think I also put hippie in the description. It just had, that flower print is just very boho to me. $32 plus shipping. This has only been listed a couple weeks. So quite a few fast movers, couple from the bail. All good. 32 plus ship. So I make about $20 in profit off of this. My cost of goods was about $4.50. So after fees and everything, this sold on Poshmark, I get about $21 for profit. So I think that is pretty good. I'm happy with that flip. Same with that Peter Millar. That would be even higher flip. And that UFC are all from that bail. And since it's Poshmark, I just have to download this. Ooh, this I almost sold on Whatnot. Some of you have been in my shows, and I was literally, some of you were like, Kimmy, no, don't sell that on Whatnot. Because I only get like, you know, anywhere between $5 and $10 on most of my items. That's all I get for my items on Whatnot. Which is fine for a lot of them. But this was a really nice cardigan. We'll go to that next. And I have, you know, some of you in there that are like, Kimmy, don't sell that for $5 when you can get $30 on eBay. Yeah, I know the struggle's real. But Mr. David especially, and Lisa was in there, and a couple of you were like, absolutely not. David pretty much, David's on a lot of my Whatnots. He comments here on my channel. You know, we've become internet friends, so many of you. But he is a reseller too. He has 4,000 listings. Him and his wife crush it. And I appreciate his insight. He's like, do not sell that on Whatnot for $5 right now. He was like, absolutely not. You want to see it? She's a pretty piece. And to be completely fair, this sold in less than a week as well. I pulled it from my Whatnot rack. I didn't run it that day, which was before my internet problems. It sold for in a week. Look at this. For $30 plus shipping. Oh, I love this. So it sold quickly and it sold very solidly. It's Lucky brand. Look at this stunning cardigan. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Size medium. Lucky Brand Southwestern Aztec. Heavy cardigan with a tie. This is everything to me. A stunning piece. Very trendy. Look at this. My thing with Whatnot that you guys, most of you know, is that I try to bring the same quality of items to my Whatnot. But I do sometimes really have to personally evaluate and say, Kimmy, you know, do you really want to sell that for $5? The thing is, hello, my friends. Some sellers have 20,000 followers and 50,000 followers, honestly. So a thing like this for them would still go for $20, $30. If Harry Tornado went on and sold this in his show, he has 100,000 followers. He'd get 40, 50 bucks for it. Even if I knew I was going to get 25, 20 or 25, I'd feel really confident. But I just don't have the following yet for that. And it probably honestly was a good decision at the end of the day to put it on eBay. And now I've done that a couple times with some things. Couple sweaters, couple cashmeres. If you are doing both live selling and static listings, I would love to know. People ask me all the time, how do you decide what goes on Whatnot? Now, granted, what my strategy is on Whatnot lately is preloading some of the nicer quality items and starting them at a higher amount. I'm taking pictures of them or finding the stock photos. And if it's something I do feel like is going to go for more, like I sold a Free People dress the other day, and it was stunning. That gorgeous embroidery that we all know and love from Free People, it was stunning. It was a $178 Free People dress when it was new. This one was used. But I started it at $19. That's the highest thing I've ever started on Whatnot. And if no one wanted to bid, then that was fine. I was just going to move it over to my next show. But I knew on eBay I could easily get $30 to $40. So what was I happy with at a quick nickel, right, or a fast nickel, compared to a slow dime, right? When we compare these platforms, it sold fast, and I did get a couple bids on it. It sold for like $24. I got it at the bins, found it somehow at the bins, got lucky. Because it was a stunning embroidery piece. And so I'm okay with that. And that is bringing down some of my worries about selling these nicer things on Whatnot. And sometimes they don't get any bids. That's okay. I'll put it on the next show because you can move. If any of your items in the Whatnot show that you have as an auction preloaded, if nobody bids on it, you can move it to your next show. So I was okay with running it a couple times, seeing if anybody liked it. Man, I'm a ramble monster today. But that's the story. I didn't run it there. I put it on here. It sold in a week for $30 plus shipping. If you find anything with that really stunning Aztec, tribal, Western, Southwestern print, you might want to look it up. Especially if you found something like a Ralph Lauren, a Pendleton, something like that, even like maybe a Woolrich, and it has that tribal, that Aztec print. Oh yeah, you could be in the money for sure. So this obviously is heavier. It's 2.5 pounds. Even though it's going to Michigan, because it's 2.5 pounds, it's $11.50. Lucky Brand, Southwestern Aztec, heavy cardigan, open front in a size medium. And hey, if you're still thinking about Whatnot, or you do Whatnot, those are some things to consider. And that's my current strategy. I'm 6 months into Whatnot now, and to bring some higher quality items, I've just been starting them, a little bit higher, $7 to $9. Specifically if they're items I feel like I could go on eBay and sell for at least $20 to $25. All right, should we see this item? You guys wasted 25 minutes of your life listening to my crazy butt. Let's show you the big one, okay? I'm telling you, most of you are going to be like, what is this? It's a pair of leggings. This is it. I sold these black leggings for $145 plus shipping within super quick. I'm trying to think. This one, 2 to 3 weeks. And I got them at the bins. The brand is Stoko. They are a pair of supportive athletic tights in a men's size medium. They are compression support tights in a very expensive made in Vancouver brand. Here it is. I know on my YouTube things it's gonna say at 25 minutes everybody left. Because now they saw what I sold for a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money to me. I get comments all the time. You guys are killing it out there. You're selling hundreds of dollars and stuff all the time. I don't have a lot of $100 sales, so it's exciting for me. There it is, Stoko, S-T-O-K-O, designed in Vancouver. Now you're like, why did you even look at these? I don't know. First of all, the material was really heavy, really thick, heavy. And then I saw these things. Boop! They're looking at you. And I was like, this is weird. What is happening? Turns out these are a way that you can pump up or lower the compression that is built into these tights. See these lines? So they, have this like recovery lines, like must be full of air, and you can pump it up or pump it down to put compression onto your body for athletes, triathlon people. People use it in for recoveries, like if you have a knee injury but you still want to go hiking, you pump up the compression, right? A lot of people wear ankle braces, knee braces, right? Because it compresses or puts some support around certain parts of your body. That's what this does in a legging. And my other tip, I know, right? The craziest thing. See all those lines and stuff? They have all these like very scientific, medically based, like lots and lots of research behind the website. Was crazy when I went to research it because I like to learn. The science and stuff all behind it was insane. But there is a lot of, you're like, why are they $145? Because they were $300 to $400 new. This specific pair was $349 new. Yeah. And my other tip is that if you can find things that these very competitive athletes wear, use, brands, I sometimes do good with like cycling pants or supportive cycling pants. The brand Track Smith is a very good athletic brand as well. So if you can hone in on some of those brands, specialty athletic brands, you could have some good money to be made. The sell-through rate on this was insane. It was like 1,000%. I should look it up right now. Is my internet still working? Yes. Okay. So if you look up just Stoko tights, which is like the very plain basic search, there are 16 pair currently for sale. And I could have held out for more if I'm being honest. 16 for sale. There is 105 sold. You guys, that's the craziest sell-through rate that you're probably going to hear all week. 16 are available, 105 sold. That's like 1,000%. And there's mine right at the top. Mama on a mission. There she is. $145 plus shipping. And I got them at the bins. That sell-through rate is insane. My goodness. Okay. 13 ounces. So yeah, I paid about $1 for these. $1.20. What do you guys think? What a crazy item, right? Something to just keep an eye out if you find anything that's out there that looks a little different. I remember I had no idea what these were, and I plugged into my phone in the middle of the bins, just put in Stoko. S-T-O-K-O. I'm assuming that's how you say it. And I was shocked at the prices. Imagine my face pulling up this pair of black tights and seeing sold for $100. I was like, what? This is going out to Minnesota. For $6.46. Compression, supportive tights, leggings. You know, they're obviously for a very serious, you know, athletic hiking. You know, this is not athleisure. This is for someone who's very serious, probably very athletic. Away she goes. That is an insane sell-through rate. All right, we still have some good sales here. Actually, a great style-based sale. A couple things from a garage sale. A great brand here. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's keep her moving. So this is a very good style-based piece. Again, I zoom in on this. I'm going to zoom in on it at the end of the video here so you can see more of the details. This is a Y2K Dress Barn chiffon garden fairy baby doll top. And I remember in the haul video sharing, you guys, see all these mixed colors? It's a burnout with a, see how it's dark over here and light over here? And then it has all this pretty embroidery. And it ties around back and it has that baby doll cut that I'm like a broken record. This Y2K garden fairy top in green sold for $32 plus shipping. It is all the things. She is the mother lode of like a fairy style aesthetic, you know, fairy Y2K style aesthetic. And that's, you know, a fantastic style-based sale. It had nothing to do with Dress Barn. Nothing. It was completely, you know, based on the color, the burnout style, the embroidery, the tie around back, the fact that it was vintage Y2K. She was a good one. 32 going out to California. And I still love selling those like fairy. I just think they're so pretty too. I really think they're pretty. $32 for a completely style-based item. All right, now this next item is style and brand. I love this brand. This sat for a little bit longer. And I think because it's just a more simple piece. It's Sundance. This is a different Sundance tag. It's a little bit older. Sundance. Now this is a dress, but Sundance is known for more of their boho, embroidery, floral, mixed patchwork prints. And so this didn't really have a lot of what you would expect from Sundance. It's a little bit more plain. It's really soft. This beautiful midi length dress with a little bit of accent there at the chest. It sold for $25.56. That was an offer from my Nifty tool. And Nifty had actually already discounted it a couple times for me. As I always mention, my Nifty tool relists my items every so often. eBay, it's like every 35 days. Poshmark, it's 90 days because everyone's getting in trouble on Poshmark for relisting and stuff. But on eBay, every 35 days, it relists some of my items, like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like tiered, like every day they list a couple different items and they keep going. Once it hits 35 days, then the item could be relisted and it automatically lowers the item's price. Get some new eyes on it. And you know what? If it's 90 days in and it hasn't moved at the price I have it at, it's good to lower it by, I think my eBay's lowered every 5% every 30 days. Automatically it does it for me. So this ended at $25.56 on an offer from my Nifty tool Sundance. It was called the Eternal Compliment Faux Wrap Ruched Dress in a size medium. And it's going out to Virginia. It's at 14 ounces. I just listed another Sundance piece that I had found. And I listed it for $39, but it had a bunch of floral mixed patchwork print on it, and those pieces usually do a little bit better for me. $6.87. Wow, to Virginia. $6.87 on this Sundance dress. Ooh, yeah, this was a good sale. Very, very solid weekend all around. Besides the whatnot disaster. So far, internet still is going strong. We had that one little bloop in the middle, in the beginning there. I thought we were going down. No, not again. Oh man, was it just, like I said, you can't control it. And I'm gonna get over it. But I felt bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, let me try again. Then we were like, just don't move so much. Because, you know, internet is all about like how many pixels it's trying to process. And, you know, but when you're live, and I was running just from my phone, like from my network, not on the internet, that's a lot for it to handle live. It's like when you go Facebook stream just on your phone, not a part of, you know, your internet support. We had no internet. It kept going down, coming back up, going down, coming back up. They're like, just don't move so fast. I don't move that fast to begin with. But I have to show new items, you know. If you were there, let me know. And I do apologize. That was just a disaster. Okay. This is from the garage sale. My favorite garage sale that I hit last year. I've mentioned it many times. I got about, oh gosh, they helped me load my car. I had like 4 bags full of things. Vintage items. This is a vintage 90s silk, lamb's wool, and Angora rabbit hair made in Hong Kong skirt. The brand does not mean anything. The brand is words. Doesn't mean anything. Really pretty. It's the material and the style, and that it's vintage. The vintage part does matter. The brand, no, you know, it's not anything worth of. See that fuzzy, cozy. This is a very soft lamb's wool and silk and Angora rabbit hair. This skirt sold for $37 plus shipping. I didn't pay anything over $5 at that garage sale each. The skirts were $3. The thing that was $5 was they had some jean blazers. And honestly, those have sat the longest for me. But I've sold all kinds of things. Slips, nighties, more skirts, blazers, blouses. $37 on this vintage skirt. My cost of goods was $3, so after fees, my profit is $26.60 on this one skirt. And I sold it on Poshmark. It's so soft though. I don't like itchy wools, itchy materials. This is also going to Illinois. I have quite a few going to Illinois today. That's interesting. I'm very much a texture person. I think it, you know, I have some I have some issues. No, but seriously, I like texture is a thing for me. So I almost never pick up something that's scratchy wool. I prefer like more soft and smooth type of materials. Okay, not that you guys care. You're like, Kimmy, nobody cares. Shut up. I have a sticker sale here. Here's another retro vintage Y2K Ralph Lauren. This is one of their older tags, the LRL active wear line. This is a vintage one. And it was made in Vietnam. Size large, brown zebra print waffle knit shirt. This is just a bread and butter, sold for $18. There's no big logo. You know, you'll find mixed opinions on the logo part. Some people like to have a big loud logo, some don't. But in my reselling career, I have found that most people prefer to have the logo on the front so that that other people know they're wearing Ralph Lauren. And by all means, I get it because it's a very expensive and long-standing trendy brand. So you want people to know. So I think that was one of the things that didn't sell this as much. Some of my best sales in Ralph Lauren have either the bigger pony or a crest logo or the logo on the sleeve, logo on the buttons. Those will add some value. So this didn't have that. $18 plus shipping. Still great bread and butter sale. Happy to move it along. I've been selling Ralph Lauren since I pretty much began reselling 15 years ago. So it's always been a pretty solid brand for me. No complaints. All right. Now this brand, let's get the stinker out of the way, huh? Let's do that. This stinker is just a very pretty, I've had this a while. Look at that print. Very classic, coastal, nautical. Like that blue and white is just such a classic combo. This is a plus size 1X. It's just a boutique brand. It's Mary Bell. I don't know anything about that. These types of items are now ending up in my whatnot because they do still have value. It's a very cute print. Perfect for spring. But without a good brand connected to it, it does not have good value, a lot of value. This sold for $5 plus shipping. That's the only stinker sale I have for today. I'm happy to move it. Honestly, it's still pretty, but the value was not there. I love this print. I think it's very classic, chic, coastal. $5 plus shipping. Going out to Colorado. I put boho chic paisley, AOP all over print, and I actually put peasant too. So I was really trying to sell it with those keywords. Again, this has sat forever, so my nifty tool just keeps boop, 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 boop. And honestly, that's why I like the nifty tool, because if something's been sitting for a year and a half, why not put it down to that much if I'm not going to be the one to remove it? And I have been periodically pulling older items and redonating them, but that's what I have the nifty tool for, so I don't have to think about it. I know every month these items are getting discounted a little bit by little bit, and eventually it'll get to a lower range where someone will buy it for $5. You can put in more aggressive, like if you're like, hey, if this doesn't move in 2 months, discount it by 50%. I see people do that, and Nifty has the tool. You can set up any percentage. You could say after 30 days, lower it by 30%. Fine. That works for you, you do it. I'm okay. I have a pretty solid mix of long tail and shorter. You know, several of these items sold within a month. Today, I think we had 4 items that sold in less than a month. That's great. I also have other items that sometimes sit. Shrug. I don't know. You guys are like, you should care more than that. I mean, I do care, but I love having the Nifty app to do all those things for me, because I know eventually it'll sell. And hopefully I'm picking up items lately, especially in the last year or so. Well, and especially since I've closed the retail shop, that have multiple reasons to pick it up. Now, this is another brand I've been selling for forever. It's Ulla Popkin. And again, watch the end if you want to, like actually visualize, watch it if you can. And I zoom into some of these things so you can really see it. Ulla Popkin, it's a German plus size brand. This is a 4X pull-on pant. It sold for $18 plus shipping. It's a brand I've sold for years and years. Plus size. I don't find it a whole lot. It's not like a torrid for me. I don't find it a ton. But it still is a solid bread and butter. I got this at the bins. It's a little bit heavier. I get $14.40 from Poshmark. My cost of goods is about $2, so I make profit $12.40 on an item I, spent $2 on. I read those forums and like comments on different group pages all the time. Of what people's goals are, and I'm always, as far as profit, and I'm always interested to see, because some people are like, I don't pick up anything unless I make $100, and then some people are like, I'm fine just doubling my money, right? So if you've spent $2 and your profit is $4, that's doubling your money. Everybody's strategy is different, and I've gotten all kinds of comments on here. You guys know that. Some of you have seen them. You've commented back to them. Selling an item for $5 is a waste of time. Yeah, maybe. Sometimes that's obviously not the intention. I thought for sure this would sell more for like 10, 12, 14, and that would be a bread and butter for me, especially a couple years ago. My bread and butter now is a $20 goal because, life is expensive. But do whatever, as long as you are 100% confident you are making a profit. Whatever your strategy is, I think that's why we all do this, so we can all run it our own way. What is wrong with me? Why did I just get to that thing? Crocs. It's the last item I have here, and then I will go through and show, screen share everything with you. Up close and personal with some of the details, the titles, the logos. These are Crocs. They're in really good condition. These are a women's size 11 strappy Croc. I get these at the bins. A lot of times they're trash, honestly. There's holes in them, the heels coming off. These are really comfy, cozy. These sold for $29, you guys. I'll wear them right here. This is sold on Poshmark, so I'm probably going to put it in a Poshmark box, a Ground Advantage box. 15 ounces. So I paid $1.50 for these. They sold for $29. Poshmark gives me $23.20. Ooh, do your math. $23.20 minus $1.50. $21.70. Maybe somebody double check me. $21.70 in profit. The amount of trash period that I go through at the bins is insane, but the shoes especially, you really have to be careful. Obviously other places, like if you are at a garage sale or a church sale and they say all shoes are $3, that's another good place that you could maybe find some things to sell for shoes. A lot of my local Goodwills, they want anywhere between $10 and $30 for pairs of shoes. Almost none of the shoes in my area are less than $7. $6.99 seems to be a starting point. And for a lot of shoes, honestly, I could not survive on that. But that's my local area. I see some of you say it's higher, some of you say it's lower. I feel like I'm in a higher range area, honestly. I see people like in Indiana, Surfs Up Finds, K-Way Shop, Harry Tornadoes out in the Carolinas. I see so many people in other areas and their prices are just lower than mine, which is, I think, propelled because I'm between Milwaukee, Madison, and Chicago. So I'm like between a lot of really big cities, and I don't live in one. But I think that there's a lot of people who thrift. I don't know. Because there's a big demand for thrifting in my area. Like, anyways, so I can't pay $7 for a pair of Crocs. It just, that's kind of a lot. So I stick a little paper in there so that when they're in there, they don't get smushed. See that? Stick a little paper in there. And then I'm going to get a little bit more here. Let me look. And I'll put this on top. And because it's going Poshmark, you don't have to worry about most of the cost as long as it's under 5 pounds. So she's all packaged up and ready to go. All right, we survived. My internet has been running successfully for the 50 minutes you guys have been here with me. Hopefully it continues that way, so I will reschedule my whatnots and try to get a couple in this week, because now I haven't had a good show in like a week and a half, and I'm worried that that's going to also affect my algorithm, because now it says I haven't gone consistently and I didn't really sell much because I only ran for 22 minutes. I had to jump off because everything was glitching. Yeah, my sister was like, you're glitching. So many of you were like, hey, we can't. At one point they could hear me, but they couldn't see me. My ugly face was up against my husband. He'd been teasing me ever since. He's like, no, your face was like this. You always get these like glitchy, weird things. Oh, goodness. So fingers crossed. A solid weekend of sales, whatnot, would have helped that out by hopefully a couple more $100. I usually run around 2 hours and eventually, find someone who likes something I have. So, bummer on that part, but it is what it is. I am thankful for what I have. Very solid, some quick movers here, some things from the bale. $145 sale from the bins. You're probably going to hear about that one at the end of the year when I do my year. Hopefully you're still with me. Stay with me, I promise. I will try to teach you something and be nice. I don't know what's wrong with me sometimes. At the end of the year, when I do my year recap of my best sales, those supportive tights probably will be on there. But like I said, if you can find things or educate yourself, you know, on items that are specialty, biking, marathon, you know, a lot of people, even like, think about golfing. People spend a lot of money on their hobbies. Hunting, camo stuff, fishing. Fishing is so expensive. You know, if you have someone in your family who likes a certain thing like that, you know, golfing is expensive. You know, fishing, my brother-in-law has like 42 fishing pools. So does my dad. You know, I mean, there are certain hobbies that are expensive. And if you can hone in on clothing or anything else, accessories that can bring you in money like that, like this, now we know, $145 plus shipping. And a sell-through rate that I cannot even believe. What was it? 16 listed and 106 sold? That's insane, insane. All right, friends, if you want to stick with me for another 10, 15 minutes, I'll share with you the exact logos and stuff. I love you so much. It'll be right after this. Bye, my friends. Okay, friends, let's take a deeper look at these items. I normally don't do the screen share here with the 2-day what sold, but if you do like to see this information at the end and you find it helpful, I would totally appreciate some kind of comment to let me know. Obviously, it does take me a little additional time to kind of throw this into the video. So here are these Stoko supportive tights, size medium, compression, athletic support. Now here's this logo again. You know, I'm hoping adding this type of video to the end of my 2-day what sold will allow you guys to kind of see and hear a little bit more about the details of each item. You know, this was the logo that caught my eye at the bins. It said designed in Vancouver, which was a little bit different. Obviously the spelling made me think maybe it was a different country, Vancouver, of course. And then it went into this supportive tights. And when I did the search right at the bins, I saw that these were very expensive athletic compression, recovery type of tights for athletes, for marathon, for, you know, for hikers. It is some very special, very expensive pant. So I wanted to share those details with you. Again, these sold, I had them for less than a month listed. I had a ton of interest in these. Will I always find these items? No, probably not. But the point is, you know, to keep your eye out for some of those indications of an item that might be worth value or coming from maybe a different country or something very niche. Or I have said before, anything that might be related to marathons, triathlons, you know, these amazing athletes who need additional support and are willing to invest in quality items. And this was one of those. Stoko, the supportive tight for recovery and for, you know, serious business athletes. I can tell you that because they are amazing. And there you have it. Now, this was that UFC fight shirt I got from my 100-pound bale. This sold in days. I maybe could have waited out for more, but I was happy with the offer that I had received. Anything wrestling, MMA, boxing related, especially if it's vintage, can be an indication of something that is collectible or that people want to collect. Obviously, this says Ultimate Fighting Championship button-up shirt. It was UFC Y2K. And it had obviously the very cool graphic on the back there, and that definitely made it more of a valuable piece. So keep that in mind. Anything fighting, boxing, WWE, UFC can be something to pick up. Now here's this Sundance dress. You guys know I love this brand. It still sells well for me. I was able to find the stock photo, which looks a lot better than my photo. I should have brightened this up a little bit and made it a little clearer. But Sundance, they have a couple different tags, but if you see the word Sundance, that's how you know. This was the Eternal Compliment faux wrap ruched dress in a size medium. And so being that it was a medium, I was really happy that it sold for the price that it did, $27.48. A lot of Sundance, I do hope for a little bit more, but with this dress, there wasn't a lot of embroidery or colorful prints, mixed prints, and I do think that's why it didn't do as well as it could have. Lucky brand, this is another brand that I love to sell, especially in more substantial pieces. This is absolutely a substantial piece. Obviously, that print is stunning. Southwestern cardigan sweater. It was heavy. Aztec, tribal. You could put also obviously Western, cowgirl, any of those things. Size medium. The colors were beautiful. Some of the less substantial pieces aren't going to move as quickly for you or as much. This, like I was going to sell this in a Whatnot show, and I got too scared to share it because I didn't want to sell it for $5. And I pulled it out of my inventory and ended up putting it in my box to list, my bin to list online, and it sold fast. So if you find one of these Western prints, that's going to be your key component. This Western Tribal Aztec print is very popular right now. Do not sell this on a Whatnot for $5. It's a reminder to myself as well. Now here is the stinker sale. This was the boho chic plus size 1X blouse. There really was not a substantial brand to it. Obviously Mary Bell, this is just a boutique brand, most likely from like a TJ Maxx, Ross, maybe JCPenney, Kohl's type of deal. A lot of these items that are really pretty, this print is stunning, but there's no brand attached or nothing that makes it more substantial, are ending up in more of my Whatnot shows. Is it worth $5? Yes, it is. It's a cute blouse, but it's not substantial. Most likely the original retail was $30 to $40 in like a big box type of store. And so that's why it did not go for a lot. I am trying to avoid any plus sizes without a brand name attached, unless it's something I feel could move in my Whatnot shows, and usually are bigger sizes, 3X, 4X, or 5X, because they just are really hard to find in those sizes. This is fantastic sale, rag and bone. Here is the logo for you. 28 actually isn't a terrible size in this brand. You know, a lot of the rag and bone that I find is usually a 24, 25, 26, which is pretty small and a slow mover. These sold quick. They are the very trendy wide leg, right? So look for that rag and bone. If it does say, the tag right here said Logan mid-rise wide leg, and that's right on trend. Everyone wants the wide leg, maybe the flare. So this was on trend, a decent size from a great brand, rag and bone, and it sold for a great price. Rag and bone. There's the other tag for you, and obviously it says the color and the style right there, which is always really nice. You can use those details to Google or to even go into eBay, look up rag and bone jean, size 28, color Wellbrook, and see what comes up in the solds to give you a little bit more information. But rag and bone, wide leg jeans, quick flip for me, very happy. Now Peter Millar, you know, you're going to get mixed comments about Peter Millar. I'm still picking it up for the most part, and I'm still doing very well. Although this was from my bundle bale, my 100-pound bundle bale. This will probably end up being one of the best sales from that bale. This is a pair of 3430 Performance Slim Fit pants. I was able to find a stock photo, which usually does help, gives the customer an indication of what it looks like. Again, you could use style keywords, style numbers in order to find that stock photo. Peter Millar. The men's pants in this range, like 32 to 36, are some of my better sizes that sell, with the exception of maybe like a very large size. But this 34-30 is a great size for men's pants. Again, performance, golf. You could put in other things like preppy, business executive, business casual, and these were a fantastic sale. So I'm still looking at Peter Millar. I'm giving it a second check, you know, looking at solds and deciding if it's worth it for me. This came in the bale, so I had no choice, but this is a fantastic sale. This is from the garage sale, this vintage 90s silk and lamb's wool Angora rabbit hair skirt in a size medium, this beautiful pretty pink color. There is the vintage tag. I love those vintage brands. The brand was Words. Okay. words. But you can see here, silk, Angora rabbit, lamb's wool. Definitely look for holes. I have missed holes on these types of items more times than I can count. A lot of times it's a redonate. Sometimes I do sell with putting the information out there. Hey, this has a flaw. Please note, big letters, big stars. This has a flaw. But I put in the keywords elegant, teacher, executive, secretary, fancy, quiet, luxury. And of course, all of those words paired with the fact that it's vintage 90s, the material is fantastic. All of those things got this thing sold. I like selling vintage. Some people don't. You do you, boo. Whatever you know, fits your business. Now, this was, one of my favorite sales. And I remember in my haul video with this item, I told you guys that this was the mother load. That if you were just listening to me, that you should pull up to the computer and take a look at this item, because this is a fantastic style-based Y2K fairy baby doll top, whimsical, whimsy, playful, garden fairy, all of those different things because of the color burnout. The green is very trendy in this style aesthetic. It has the tie around back. It has some glitter sequin accents, all the things on this one. This one was a stunner. It is no surprise to me that it sold. Look at this embroidery detail. Very, very pretty. Love that burnout. Love the color. Added all those keywords. $32 plus shipping on that one. This is a brand I've recently been mentioning to you guys. It's doing okay for me. It's Aventura. It is another eco-friendly, sustainable, crunchy brand. The brand is called Aventura. It kind of makes sense, honestly. I did put in the keywords coastal, summer, spring, floral, boho, hippie. Hippie more so because of the print rather than the style. This was new with tags. Aventura. Here's the tag for you. Aventura. And you can see right here on the tag it says organic. I do look for those types of indications again with materials, anything organic, recycled, bamboo, viscous, all can be worth the value. This is a pair of Crocs. You guys know I love selling Crocs. They do better than most people think, as long as they're in really good condition. These are a pair of comfort sandals in a women's size 11. I do think that made a difference. The style is very cute. I get most of my Crocs at the bins. If not there, they would have to be probably $3 or under for me at a regular thrift store. But yeah, these are the Crocs. You mostly think of like the plastic style with the ankle support, but they do a lot of different styles, and I do overall pretty well with them. Most of them end in the $20 to $25 range. This pair sold for full price at $29 plus shipping, which is really great, but I would not expect a whole lot more than that out of most of these Croc styles. This is a vintage Ralph Lauren. This is kind of just a basic bread and butter. I've sold Ralph Lauren for years and years. This didn't have a big logo or anything really, a lot of times the things in Ralph Lauren that do well for me have a big logo on them. This is a zebra print long sleeve waffle knit. Again, just kind of more of a basic piece. It went for $18. Did not have a large logo with it. I do think that those items do better. And then this brand has been a brand I've sold for over a decade. It's a plus size brand, Ulla Popkin. It's a Germany-based plus-size brand. And again, I just do, this is bread and butter for me. If you're not into plus size, maybe this might not be your thing, but I can tell you I've been selling this brand for many years, and most of the pieces do pretty well. As a plus-size company, this company goes into like the 5X and 6X range. So if you can find those are good movers, usually too, just because it's a harder to find size. This was a 4X. It sold for $18. It's just a basic pull-on knit pant. I think that makes sense. That seems like a fair price, and I was happy with that sale as well. So hopefully, again, if you guys make it to the end here and you like this addition to the end of my 2-day, what sold ship with me videos, let me know. It's just an additional step for me, but maybe it gave you a little bit more insight about the items or the logos, things like that. If it was helpful, I would really love to know. I love you all so much, and I hope I see you on the next video.